So for years, the World Trade Center site stayed pretty empty. There were all the legal fights. That's how we got to know the Silversteins first, was with all of those legal battles. Not much was happening. Sorry, folks. But I never forgot what was going on there. You know, very conscious of the unsettled spirits. It's being reflected in the wind and in the fabrics of the construction material. I'm drawn to the fabrics of disaster, the shrouds. I see the building shrouded in material, and it reminds me so much of what happened there. This painting from my window. As part of the reconstruction of Lower Manhattan, the city offered tax abatements to bring people back downtown and to make it attractive for people to construct new additions to their buildings. So over time, this view of mine from my studio was obscured by a roof extension that went up. So part of what I'm painting here is the start of the disappearance of this view, which was had such a deep emotional connection. This is watercolor of the Liberty Street fire at the Deutsche Bank. Again, firemen gave up their lives at the World Trade Center site battling this fire. There are a lot of people working at the World Trade Center site who never have left since September 11th. People who came in response and have stayed. Many of the construction workers who were working at the World Trade Center site were there in the first days and weeks as iron workers cutting back the debris. It's a really unique community of people who are working. And the fire and the police are key to that. So I'm always painting being at the fences, being on the edge, being on the roof. So I sent this body of pictures of 7 Rising to the attention of Silverstein Properties, hoping that they'd buy a picture, which I still haven't done. But in response, much to my surprise, they invited me to come work on the 48th floor of 7 World Trade Center. On an unrented floor.
Talk about the Towers of Light.
Well, the Towers of Light, you know the Towers of Light. You've seen the Towers of Light.
That was in the previous picture.
Yeah, that was in the previous picture. That's from my book. You know, one of the things I've recognized by having my pictures up in this exhibit is that much of what I'm painting is other people's work. That when I'm painting the reconstruction of the World Trade Center, I'm painting the work of the designers, the planners, the architects, as well as the construction workers. And in this, I'm paying tribute to another artist's work here. But I really love this memorial. You know, again, what I was looking at that wasn't what the artist conceived. It was a low-hanging cloud, creating this unusual situation. I'm working on one of these now, too, really nocturnal from this year's. So this is one of the first pictures I did from the 48th floor of 7 World Trade Center. This is a small watercolor with you looking down at the harbor. So I started documenting the building of One World Trade Center from when it was a hole in the ground to the first sticks of steel And here you're looking out over One World Trade Center as if at this point it's probably at 30 stories looking over the harbor. I'm very conscious when I'm there, when I'm painting, I'm looking at scenes that are, is the word evanescent? That they're going to disappear, that they're there for a second and they're not going to be there tomorrow. And it's a challenge for me because I'm in the wrong medium. The right medium is being done by Steven Spielberg, and you probably saw some of it at the 9/11 footage where they're doing the documented movie footage, where they're doing the time-lapse photography. They show it today, they shoot it later in the day, and you see the World Trade Center site coming up. That's the way to do the World Trade Center site. For me, though, it's different than that. None of these paintings are done in one fell swoop. They're done in little patches. So what I'm painting isn't any moment, really. It's more like I'm painting a season. This is looking down 7th World Trade Center. So I'll do you know, like the lower left-hand corner one day, and above it the next day, and above it the next day, and so what you're looking at here is over One World Trade Center at the Memorial Fountains under construction. They opened this past week to the public. My wife and I were there on the second day they were open. It was an incredibly moving experience for me. They're very, very beautiful. I'll talk about them later. But I've been, this is large oil painting. I've been painting this thing as it's been going up. And not only as it's been going up, it's been going down. And it's because much of the construction is going on underground. And I'm very conscious when I'm looking at these themes of the present being caught between the past and the future. The future, the plan for the World Trade Center site is evident. You can sort of see what the architects are thinking. The past, well, you have the memory thing, and you're looking at the foundations of the World Trade Center site. It's evocative of what used to be. And the present, well, it really doesn't matter that much because it's going to change in 15 minutes, you know, because there are 3,000 men working here every day now. It's incredible how fast this construction process goes. The delay has been in the planning process. There hasn't been a better considered 16 acres on Earth than this Ground Zero site. It's gone through all of the planning process, the open competitions for the design of the memorial, open competitions for the master plan, all the battling, the families wanting this, uniform service, you know, it's unbelievable. But now, finally, because people need jobs, and the Port Authority finally pushed this thing through so that people would go to work, they have a plan. They're going to work, and as Ruth said in her introduction to me, I've drawn great resilience in watching this effort. Many of these people had a direct connection to 9/11. They lost people, and they also were responsible for the most horrible work that was being done on the site in the days, weeks, and months that followed. Many of the people who were putting up this steel are the same people who were there taking down the World Trade Center site. They're the sons of people who did it, the brothers of people who did it, and unhappily, the tragedy of 9/11 continues to unfold as so many of those workers continue to suffer health effects. And one of the things I've been educated on is that the tragedy of 9/11 continues. And it's an absolute national disgrace that people who work clearing this site for the rebuilding of the Ground Zero site are not having their cancer bills paid because they haven't found a link, a definitive link between the cancers that they're suffering and, well, it's because they're just getting sick. They'll find the link after they're dead. It's an absolute disgrace. So we should all be cognizant of the tremendous sacrifice that was done, not only by the people who came into those buildings, but to the people who were cleaning up that horrible, horrible site. We all know. The devil tone. This brings me to the end of my talk. I threw the iguana in here because he's a gnarly old dude. I did his portrait again because he sat still for me down on the floor. Unafraid, unscared, couldn't care less, sat there and let me watch him. I guess what, I want to end this with is the unpredictability of the path for the artist today. When I was doing these paintings, I had no conception that I would be exhibiting them on the 48th floor of the 7th World Trade Center. Nor did I ever think that I would be having the interaction with the families, the construction workers, the planners that I've had. Nor did I ever think I'd be hearing what I heard back from people, which was, thank you for doing your artwork. This is so meaningful. When I was doing these pictures, all I was trying to do was to get my own personal pain to stop. I was just trying to get back on an even keel, to try and get my life going again, to try and get the fireball out of my stomach. But history came a-knocking, and I had all my life been working on my practice so that when the moment came, I was there, and I was practiced in filling myself up with the moment, never dreaming what it would be, which allowed me to go ahead and do this work. And now I look back at some of those earlier pictures that I showed you, and they're missing the dark side. Those beautiful moments. I've been educated that that's not all that it is, that life it's two-fisted, two-sided. We have the dark as well as the light. But I must say that for the first time, when I go downtown now to work, I never thought I'd go downtown feeling anything other than sad. I don't feel that way anymore. I do feel like we've turned the corner. I do feel that we're a very tough city. And when I say city, when I'm up there at 48 World Trade Center, it's New Jersey, it's Connecticut, it's Long Island, it's this whole area. There are probably people in this room tonight who were impacted by the attacks like I was. I know these images are really, really disturbing. But they were done trying to keep it real. I really tried to keep as much of myself out of them as an artist. I tried to just keep them as straight as I could, because I figured what I was feeling was more than enough. So that's my talk, friends.